Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Saki here, and today we're going to be bringing you guys the next matchup of the multiple weeks long series called IVL, where we're going to be watching the best players compete against each other in the Chinese region of this game. Today we're going to be watching two titans go off against each other. We're going to be watching TE versus GG. TE and GG are two very well-known teams. TE was the runner-up this past KOA, and GG has been a previously winning KOA champion. But overall, they're all great players, but specifically these two teams right here have been seeing immense talent in not just this competition, but we've also seen in the past. So TE previously in the last KOA about a couple months ago in the global competitive server, where we had all the servers fight against each other, in all the regions of the world, more specifically fight against each other, we saw TE get second place in the tournament, which is incredibly impressive. But we are seeing GG be second place in this current IVL bracket. So for those who don't know, we're basically having all the teams go against each other until eventually we see who wins the most. So right now GG is second place at 6 wins and 3 losses, compared to the other teams which have 5 wins and 4 losses, 4 wins and 5 losses, 3 wins and 6 losses. So they're on the higher end of the competitive bracket. So if we go ahead and take a look at the gameplay, we already have the selections and the survivors being picked, and we're going to be seeing first officer, meteorologist, aeroplanist, and antiquarian in round 1, and the hunter is still yet to choose their hunter. We just saw the survivors pick their personas, and it looks like the hunter is going to go Queen Bee. Now Queen Bee is a very popular hunter right now in the tournament server. Do keep in mind that these do not include the nerfs to Queen Bee. This is pre-nerf Queen Bee. The nerfs that we just saw in the server right now, in the global server that you guys are playing right now, the Queen Bee is already nerfed. But right now she is not nerfed in this tournament server. That's because the devs don't want to change the characters before they release they don't want to change the tournament in the middle of gameplay, well, first of all, and the second of all, the players don't have enough time to react to the balance changes, to adjust to the balance changes. So, of course, these hunters who have been practicing Queen Bee would practice Queen Bee for nothing if a lot of the strong strengths of Queen Bee disappeared. In the meantime, though, we're going to see first officer with the borrowed time, meteorologist with no borrowed time, airplanes with no borrowed time, and antiquarian with no borrowed time. You will notice that in these team comps and in these tournaments in general, survivors don't tend to run borrowed time. That is because they want to become much more aggressive in the early game. They want to make sure that you get a really good kite off in the early game, while at the same time still having plenty of tie turners to help in the mid game. So the idea here is first officer obviously always carries tie, but then they need someone else to carry tide so they can get like a super safe tie using just tie turners, which is like free kiting time if you think about it. So we're going to be seeing that on both aeroplanist and meteorologist, so that no matter which one of them gets chased, they will always have 2 tides for 2 rescues. And basically the idea here is kite enough for a tie, and then 2 tides, you can rely on them to nearly get the last cipher done and not have to worry about there being no borrowed time. Of course, that's easier said than done, and you do rely on there being a good enough kite on the early game. Ooh, looks like we're finally seeing intros for the maps. Maybe because it's taking so long to load in. Yeah, I thought so. So Darkwoods is going to be the map pick here. A very popularly hated map in the server, in the global server. But I'd say this is actually a pretty nice survivor map. I overall like it. Happens to be, though, that's pretty good for Queen Bee, though, because you can shoot over the ropes. Queen Bee, though, choosing not to go after her because it's going to give the survivor a great start early game. Instead, going to choose to chase Maom here, TE Maom, going to be chasing them, but they have no borrowed time. They're fully in on this kiting. And wow, what a great use of the stick right here. Dodging the shot, did not dodge the second shot, unfortunately. Could have been a little bit more patient there, especially when the hunter can't hit them for 10 seconds. So could have been a little bit more patient there. Airplanist here, gonna keep decoding. Everyone else is decoding here. It's just antiquarian trying to kite long enough for a tie. Right here, gonna use the stick at the same time she shoots, so she prevents a basic hit and gonna prevent the shot. The stick absorbs the shot that the Queen Bee is using, and getting so much kite time here with this garbage pallet right here. Finally gonna knock the Queen Bee. Has to be patient here because she could definitely get shot right here. Still gets shot. Ooh, and she almost gets hit right there. Normally, she would be dead right here already because of Blink, but she's running Peepers, which is actually going to be to this Queen Bee's detriment right now. Especially because, ooh, unfortunately, shouldn't have taken that vault. She just doesn't vault fast enough. Would have been better to use a stick right there, but she actually already used everything, so it was basically her only option. Definitely could have been more patient there, though, because this cage right here, you'd be surprised how annoying it is for this cage. Look at how wide this cage is. Like, there's no way you're going to get hit as long as you don't evolve too early. You need a bait hunter to just get a little bit closer to the edge of the cage right there before you evolve. But anyway, still a really good kite. This is definitely looking like a tie-worthy position where the stars can definitely rely on a tie here. Question is, can they actually make this rescue? So far, the Queen Bee has been very aggressive here, making sure to figure out where the stars are coming from, paying attention to the shaking Cypher machine so she knows where everyone is going to come from. Right here, going to try to the first officer, get the first hit finally, farms the Antiquarian. I would say that's probably good for the stars that the Antiquarian gets hit here because they're not planning for her to survive. They just want her to die away from the Cypher machines. That way her teammates can actually decode the Cypher safely without being interrupted by the Queen Bee herself. Antiquarian going to go all the way to the edge of the map, and this is exactly what we're seeing here, going all the way away from the survivors. Meanwhile, Airplanes is going to set up for a rescue here. This is what we were talking about, where no matter who gets chased, they always have a tide. In this situation, they actually have 3 tides that they don't need. So it turns out maybe one person could have ran borrowed time, but of course they don't know who's going to get chased. If it happens that Antiquarian gets chased, then now they have a useless tide turner. Who knows though, maybe it could be helpful in the end game, but for now, this Airplane needs to actually make the rescue. Pretty good jetpack right there. Overall, very good jetpack. Gonna make the rescue. That's the #1 most important thing. Without borrowed time, though, there's not much point trying to keep this Antiquarian alive. She's most likely just going to kite until tide runs out, which is exactly what we're going to see. But look at the Cypher progress. We do have one Cypher now moving. Now it's moving. And look at the immense amount of decode. This is what I was talking about, guys, when we said that when you run these no borrowed time builds, you're relying on the Survivor doing enough of a kite to the point where by the time the last chair finally happens, the Cypher is already almost done. The Queen Bee can choose to teleport here if she wants to, although she doesn't quite have it up because the peepers are not up yet. Gonna instead choose to use the full presence, but look at this. The stars already predicting her movement. Knowing that they don't have borrowed time, they're not gonna rush the Cypher because if they get approached, they're not even going to have borrowed time to save themselves unless this is the first. Also, that's actually not inside the pallet. How deceiving right here of the Queen Bee to not actually be inside the pallet. And this is what we're seeing with hunters nowadays. Their job is not to kill anyone. Their job is not to get someone on chair. As soon as you have a Cypher with this much progress, your only goal is to try to get resources out as much as possible for the end game. Because for the end game, that's when you're going to try to rush them. You're trying to just get those resources out while you can in the early game, and then you try to rush them down the end game. Try to get those resources out. Try to get those pocket watches out. Try to get those hits out. I mean, the meteorologist here, while not using her item on the kite, is forced to use it anyway to heal herself. So if you really think about it, getting an item out for the meteorologist here as well. Setting herself for the end game. She is losing progress on this 6th Cypher machine, and that's good on the survivors. That's what they're supposed to do. Start a new Cypher machine when the 5th one gets pressured. They were expecting this already. Right here, we're going to see the ropes be not so good against Queen Bee. First officer is going to be forced to just take a normal route here. But he does have borrowed time. The one person they choose to chase is the borrowed time first officer. But this is what I was talking about here. Hopefully now, the Queen Bee can rely on the fact that he has no abilities to quickly knock him down. But this chase is extremely slow. Using these logs very well right here. Even though he's kiting with literally nothing, it's basically enough to get a pretty good kite here, but not enough to actually get the gate open. Are we going to see a teleport? We're going to see a warp because he saw the survivor's shadow in the middle of the map. Good thinking, good vision right here from the hunter, but can they actually get this knockdown before first officer? Why is she going on the swing? BM value, I guess, maybe preventing the bees going on her. I don't really know why. Probably an accident. I don't know why, but right here, great flywheel from the meteorologist. Hits the wall. Can she survive? Oh, okay. Unfortunately, not going to survive. Gets the pout stun, but no, she does not survive. Nonetheless, though, great work from her right there. It's going to stall for the first officer really nicely, but he still needs to open the gate. And with full presence being active for this Queen Bee, is there going to be enough time? He first needs to chase out this Aeroplanus. That's the first thing. We need to get this Aeroplanus out. As soon as he gets out, teleport on the bees. See if you can beat that first officer. And she already pre-placed her bees ahead of time, but ooh, unfortunately, it's not going to be enough, even with all this energy. Can she body block? Maybe a body block? No. If she was a little bit closer, she could have body blocked the door while it was in the opening animation. But unfortunately, not going to be the case. Going to be a little bit short there. Any second less of a kite from that meteorologist, and she could have been in trouble right there. That first officer would have been cooked. So great work there from the meteorologist. They're slowing the game down. First officer as well, not going down there immediately is huge. The fact that the Queen Bee wasn't able to go up the logs quickly to shoot him down, then he played a really good mind games at the logs as well. Very good work right there from the first officer, despite having no items left. And of course, we also saw the meteorologist using her wind right there, using her flywheel, using every bit of resources she had, even that pallet stun. Every second right there really mattered right there. So the fact that she managed to stall long enough for that first officer to get away, huge. Absolutely huge that they were able to get that tie position. This is exactly what the survivors want right here. Antiquarian is an extremely good survivor against Queen Bee. As soon as you see her shoot, just remove the shot. I will say maybe the Queen Bee shouldn't have got so close to the Antiquarian, because then not only is she removing the shot, she's also whacking the hunter away on top of that, which then puts a movement speed debuff and potentially removes the hunter's ability to swing. But nonetheless, still really good chase. I think she did the best she could in that given position. Those tall walls, extremely annoying for Queen Bee to deal with. No easy way to shoot over them. And overall, a pretty decent kite from the Antiquarian. Was it anything amazing? Anything particularly like noteworthy? Overall, she did her job. Not the like a clip-worthy kite, but definitely did her job kind of kite. And that's exactly what we said that she should do. She should do a tie-worthy kite at the bare minimum so that her teammates who are now running borrowed time can rely on the tie turners doing the rest of the work. You saw right there that even though the Cypher was almost done though, they still weren't quite able to get it done because Queen Bee's very strong mobility is just too dangerous. They don't want to take that risk. Survivors are going to choose to play it slow, play it safe. Hunter, of course, with the Cypher at 83 though, survivors know they have no choice. The Hunter has no choice but to camp that Cypher. Otherwise, it's going to be done just like that. So, using that to their advantage, they're like, okay, let's play it slow. Let's play more chill. Let's start a 6 Cypher machine. That's going to make it a lot harder for the Hunter to find a good target to chase if we're constantly making it so that there's no one on top of the Cypher machines, right? And there was one person on the 6 Cypher machines, but it was so far away that it wasn't even really necessarily worth going for. Because the moment she does, 83% Cypher, boom, pop just like that, especially with accelerated decode. Also, having all their abilities up for the end game. Even though they didn't pop the Cypher immediately when the Antiquarian got chaired, it took like an extra minute because they had to do a new Cypher machine. The fact that the Antiquarian bought enough time with those tie turner means that now they can rely on their abilities rather than on the borrowed time to save their life. Of course, obviously borrowed time is still such a lifesaver and can make your kite just guaranteed to survive long enough for them to open up the exit gates. Like right there was a little bit iffy because the guy at middle wasn't sure if the first officer would live long enough. Because of course the Queen Bee did a good job getting those items out for the end game. Thinking about the end game, thinking about, okay, there's no way I can kill a second survivor here. Like, yes, she can knock them down, but I mean like literally kill out of the game. No way that's gonna happen. She recognized that. She was like, okay, with a Cypher this much progress, unless that Cypher was like, let's say there was 2 Cyphers remaining or 3 Cyphers remaining, and maybe they have 2 Cyphers remaining, but none of them have a lot of noteworthy progress, that would be like, okay, I can go for a chair here potentially. I can try to push survivors into other Cypher machines, hopefully. Try to prevent them from going into directions away from the Cypher machines by putting my body there, using my abilities to knock them down. Then you can commit a little bit more to the chase, and then we could have seen a chair, and then there's hope to kill a second person, which then secures the 3-man much better. But in that position, Queen Bee recognized that her best shot, in all honesty, is to just try to get as many abilities up and hope that she can rush down the survivors in the end game. Unfortunately, for Saucer didn't let that happen, and neither did the meteorologist. But if one of those two things was a little bit different, could have been a very different game for the Queen Bee. We saw just how close it was in the end game right there for the first officer. First officer, every second he lived really mattered because they needed every second they can get on the exit gate. And so then the Queen Bee is just forced to chase the person at middle. And then, of course, meteorologist needed a kite every second there so then first officer can escape. So it was like every little second really mattered there. It was very important. Again, the Queen Bee strategy, getting those pocket watches out, almost paid off. Almost paid off. It was very close to paying off, but the survivors did not make a mistake that she was hoping for. Ended up even mind gaming her a little bit, especially with the really good flywheel, the wind there, the getting on the swing. I don't know what that was. Maybe we'll count that as a mind game, sure. Overall, great work right there from the survivor team. But yeah, you have to look at the Hunter side and be like, well, even though they didn't get the win, you have to recognize that what they were setting up for was very close to a win. Most Hunters probably would have just committed to a survivor target, and that would have been just an easy tie for the survivors. But now, you could see she knew the the problem was the Cypher, not the lack of cherries. The problem was the Cypher, and as long as she can stall the Cypher machine, she can get out items. As long as she has until the 6 Cypher finishes, that's her chance to get those items out, not to get chairs. She recognized her plan is to go for a burst of chairs, right? That's the only way. That's the only way, because if you try to go 1 chair at a time, last Cypher's gonna pop. Not even close. There's no way. Her best shot is to get those abilities out, and maybe with the lack of abilities, maybe then she can burst down those survivors. You saw it almost happen with the first officer. He didn't really last quite that long. But then the meteorologist just flywheel, wind. It made it too difficult for the Queen Bee to kill her because, of course, there's too many abilities to get out. She just didn't have enough time. And that's what the survivors needed. That's why they ran those tide turners. That's why they went ahead and used those no borrow time builds, relying on the Intgrain's kite to be long enough in order to get a super safe tie like that. Honestly, it wasn't even that super safe. But it was honestly still well played to them, and the Hunter did the best they could given the situation. Like a Cypher 15% away from popping, or technically 17% away from popping, really helped the game right there. Just to slow down, to be like, okay, wait a second, no point of chairing. Let's keep up this pressure, prevent the Cypher, and use this time to get rid of abilities, maybe get some health states out, especially without borrowed time. If you don't have borrowed time, every health you get out on anyone besides the first officer really does matter. That's just going to take like 2 less shots to kill, or who knows how many less shots. Maybe she gets a hit and a basic, a chip hit and a basic. Really depends. Anyway, we are now going to be seeing GEG survive here, and TE is going to be the Hunter side. We're going to be seeing a very interesting ban here, Perfumer. You don't really see Perfumer every day as a survivor, but she is extremely good on maps with lots of heights, and there are plenty of places on this map. You got the big house, 2 places she can do it at. You got the ropes near the big house. You got the tree house near the gate, away from the big house. You got plenty of drop downs near the swings area with lots of swings branching off to each other. Like, there are lots of places where Perfumer can be good. But I would say this is most likely a Goatman pick right here. This looks like a Goatman. Perfumer ban plays really heavy into Goatman. So as expected, we are going to see very strong Goatman survivors right here. Lucky Guy is maybe the one off pick that's not so good against Goatman. But they don't want to play too hard into Goatman, then turns out it's like Queen Bee, right? And then Aeroplace isn't so good against Queen Bee. Lucky Guy here is going to be decent against whatever she goes. Like, if she goes Queen Bee here, Lucky Guy can, I don't know, pull a pocket watch, get an elbow pad, stall out. That's the benefit of Lucky Guy. The veteran bonus plus, of course, you have to pull the right item that you're wishing for, but the benefit of Lucky Guy being able to pull, hopefully, the strong item you're wishing for that counters the Hunter is going to be key here. Something like Goatman, you can pull a Perfume. That's a whole cage out. That's at least enough for a tie, right? Perfuming 1 cage away. Pretty decent value. Especially for 1 item, not bad at all. Airplanes is going to be great against Goatman as well. But again, Pepe doesn't have to go Goatman here. He could still go Queen Bee. Left himself open with these Meteorologist bans. A Meteorologist is, of course, a popular pick in round 1. She's a very strong survivor, what can I say? Enchantress, you might be surprised, but she is annoying for Hunters to deal with. Chip Hunters are particularly in the meta, with Queen Bee being a Chip Hunter. So we are seeing Chip Hunters rise up again, which means Enchantress is naturally going to get better. But she's also very good against Goatman. So makes sense to ban Enchantress around them, because this is really the only place you're really going to use Enchantress. When you're worried about the Goatman, when you're worried about the Queen Bee, this is really Enchantress's best place to shine, round 1. So getting her out early on means that, hey, they're probably not going to pull out Enchantress round 2. And even if they do, it's not going to get as much value because A, Queen Bee is used, so really the only thing she's going to counter is Goatman, and B, the stars are probably going to ban Goatman, right? So at that point, going Enchantress is going to be a lot less value. So I think the Enchantress ban is really smart here, identifying that there's really not going to be a great time after round 1 to use Enchantress anyway, so if you ban her now, banning her now is essentially like banning her for the rest of this game. Now, it doesn't mean that they'll never go Enchantress, because she still has annoying support potential, but her strength is greatly diminished in those later rounds. Alright, so we're going to see a very interesting spawn here from the Survivor side. I find that the Cyphers in the top right and bottom left of this map, they tend to spawn in clusters. And then the top left has like no Cyphers. So even if Big House is blocked here, which it's not going to be because the front gate cipher, the campfire cipher, is going to be blocked. So this is especially like a decent spawn, a better spawn than I give it credit. The only downside is, of course, not much rotation value. Whoever spawns in the top right here is going to get chased pretty quickly. But the benefit is it kind of gets canceled out because the hunter has to like walk around these huge tree houses. The tree's like in the way, using it as like an obstacle the hunter has to walk around. It actually becomes very annoying, surprisingly. So it's not even half bad of a spawn. Anyway, we're gonna see the queen bee here. That means Goman is gonna still be up on grabs for later on. And the survivors are going to have to ban it constantly. But Queen Bee is going to be out for the rest of this matchup. You cannot repeat hunters in this tournament, nor can you repeat survivors. And we are going to see a very quick chase here. Very similar to last game, except this time, we are going to see the hunter commit to the whoever is spawning here. So last time, we saw GG's hunter not commit. This time, we are going to see Lucky Guy commit. Ooh, that's a really painful double shot. Because now that means he has to regain all that energy all over again. And we're seeing the power here of Treehouse. You can see how strong it is as a starting kiting area. Using it to first use the rope, then the super strong pallet in middle, followed up by the second super strong pallet at essentially middle. Of course, it's risky to use it because of the shot, but he saved just enough football to get one more loop out of it. Doesn't get hit. This is an extremely good guy. This is a star you want to look for. Even if he goes down quickly after this, which even then he's not, because he's got this really great log set up here. The Queen Bee shot, I don't think goes over the log, if I'm not mistaken. Dodging the shot. What a great shot. What a great dodge right there. Gonna kite past the anti-corin. Are we gonna see some support here? We should. I would expect to see some support right here. Ooh, we're not gonna see any support. Oh, no, we are. Whew, and it actually counters the warp because she doesn't get in the warp immediately as a result. What a great anti-crane stick. Look at that. Because he used the rope early this game, he's going to get to use it again. And now look, now these pallets are so annoying because he already used the good one. That's okay. He's still got these other two good ones. Combining them together is finally going to go down here. But what an impressive kite from the Lucky Guy here. I mean, one item kiting like that? Insanely good. That is insanely good kite. He didn't even get to use his flywheel, so that was essentially just broken windows kite. Very good. Very strong kite. Maybe he should have left one pallet up so he can flywheel the shot and maybe get a pallet stun off. But who knows? That would be, I think that would be the best shot he has for him. Speaking of shots, almost shooting down the first officer with the prediction. Ooh, but he does hit him right there. This could result in a double hit. Is this the comeback that the hunter's looking for potentially? Ooh, unfortunately not going to double hit the first officer. That means that he's going to go right back on the cyber machines. And if you thought the anti-Quarian Sky from last game was good for a tie, look at this one. The survivors are practically going to have every cipher done by the time this Lucky Guy sees his third chair. And right now, he's not even on his second. Queen Bee right here didn't really farm up energy while she had the chance either. So she missed out on some energy right here. Could have done that while Titan was active. This is going to be a pretty annoying chair to rescue from, though, as Survivor. Just because of the fact that Hunter has a high vantage point, so it's pretty easy to see where stars are coming from. Aeroplanist right here, going to get identified from far, but his jetpack is going to just guarantee that he doesn't get hit right here. Again, very similar game. Aeroplanist rescues second, first officer rescues first. This is basically like a copy of last game. The only difference is that this Lucky Guy, hold up, this Lucky Guy might actually kite to Cypher's pop. Oh, got a little bit of production issues going on. Can he survive here? He saved the flywheel this long. And we are going to see him, use the flywheel. Not a great flywheel, unfortunately. He's not going to actually last that long here. I don't think this Queen Bee is going to have any issue knocking him down right here. Oh, but the support! No, what a hit through the side using her side angle right here. Her side hitbox going to swap to excitement and guaranteeing this one-man kill. Queen Bee is just surrendering her win potential at this point by taking the excitement. Maybe she can get lucky and kind of find someone near the exit gates and then get like a swarm of chairs going on here. But no, the aeroplanist is very far from the exit gate here. She was hoping to maybe find like a group of people next to each other, maybe find someone out in the open, but he's next to this pallet, super safe, not much to do here. Stalling so much time too. Maybe he can get dungeon. No, dungeon's too far away, but maybe he can get the gate escape. He's still got a jetpack. We're not seeing a jetpack used. Where's this jetpack? No jetpack used from the aeroplanist until it's too late. Unfortunately means that we're not going to be able to see the body block potential. First officer could have taken a tide hit inside the watch, and just forced the Queen Bee to take drastic measures to try to kill the Seraplanus, but no, he didn't even use his jetpack on time to even reach the first officer in the first place. And that is going to turn a potential win into a tie for the survivors. Don't get me wrong, very great result for them. Overall, I think this is what they were hoping for. Lucky Guy, whew, that was just great basics in kiting right there. Using the rope first, then using the strong pal, then the next strong pal, then using the log. And that's kind of the thing about IdentityV is IdentityV, you slowly go from the strongest kiting area to like slowly weaker and weaker kiting areas. But the important thing is the Lucky Guy recognized that. He's like, okay, let's use the strong areas while I still have them without taking any unnecessary damage. Then when I finally exhausted the good areas, then I go back to my starting position because that place is reusable. The ropes are reusable. And that's something I don't see enough survivors do in this game. They don't look at their kite and be like, okay, how can I use my hit, my speed boost to get back to a strong kiting area? Because the way, like I said, kiting areas slowly become weaker and weaker over time. You have less and less options, and the game is specifically designed like that for you to have weaker and weaker options. The devs don't want to clump all the best kiting areas all in one spot, because otherwise it's just going to be an infinite loop that everyone runs to as soon as the kite starts. That's why Hospital's not picked in tournaments, because everyone just immediately runs to it. It's too good of a kiting area. But on a map like Darkwoods, you exhaust the good pallets pretty decently quickly. So you have to think critically. You have to be like, okay, how am I going to use my hit bonus to get back to a different good kiting area? And in this case, because the rope is reusable, the Lucky Guy is like playing like, wait a minute, I don't have to go search for a new kiting area. I can just reuse the rope. The rope is going to give such a hard time, and while I'm at it, pass by the Antiquarian to help counter the warp. And so that was really good thinking. They're not only going to a strong kiting area, but taking advantage of his teammates' resources that otherwise would just not be being used. They would just be sitting there not getting any value. You want to try to get your resources, because if you can get your teammates' resources on your side, then if you really think about it, Lucky Guy didn't just have a football. He also essentially used the stick on his kite. Even though it wasn't him doing the stick, even though it wasn't him using it, it was still used on his kite thanks to him kiting past the Antiquarian. So being able to run past your teammates and have them support you like that is absolutely huge. And that's why we see stuff like Meteorologist in tournaments. That's why we see stuff like Antiquarian tournaments. Because if you run past these survivors, you're just getting additional time on your kite. It's like you start with that ability. It's like, oh, now I have all my abilities plus the wind from Meteorologist. Now I have all my abilities plus this stick from the Antiquarian. By the way, really good use of the of hitting sideways right there to hit around the wall, hit around the Antiquarian as well. Really great there. And of course, Excitement is just going to guarantee the tie here. He doesn't want to risk having like a borrowed time. Man, this stream is dying today, but yeah, not risking any borrowed time potential there. I mean, I think he did see a flywheel at the very end there. But still we're not gonna risk it, because every second that Antiquarian takes away from him putting pressure on the gates is gonna be second that could lead to a dungeon escape as well. Not even if Antiquarian is not immediately at the gate, she did have the immediate dungeon there, which could lead to a very bad result for him. Just gonna take the super safe tie, then use her full presence to try to find someone else. So I think she did the best she could in that position, but I must say, like I said, being able to first use your strong resources before you take the hit means that you can kind of use the hit boost as like a, oh, let's reset here. Let's reset my kite here, go back to a strong kiting area and start from there, work down your ladder again from the strongest to the weakest. A lot of people, they either don't use the kiting areas in the right order, and they go from like a super strong kiting area to like they go to super weak because they use the pallets in the wrong order. Like let's say that Lucky Guy, instead of running to the super strong pallet after the rope, use those 3 pallets in the middle. That's fine, but there was a much better option right there instead, and it's best to try to take advantage of that before you take your hit, because of course if you take your hit next to the good pallet, then you're kind of wasting most of your veteran bonus. You're not getting maximum value out of it. On top of that, now you could get warped down before you get value out of those really good pallets. The idea of being full health is you're getting value out of your good resources before the hunter can kill you with a trade, because of course that's kind of why like taking hits in this game early on and being like, oh, if I sacrifice a hit now early on in my kite, I can do an infinitely long kite later, right? Right? If I save all my good resources and try to use the bad ones now, then I should have lots of good resources later. Well, A, doesn't quite work because, again, Not enough good areas close enough together to make that work. We saw the lucky guy eventually be forced to take a hit because of that fact. And the other thing is B, if you choose to do that, now something like Blink instantly kills you. That's why when you kite on a map like Hospital, it's best not to take a hit trying to go to Hospital, because if you do, then what ends up happening? It doesn't matter how strong your window is. It doesn't matter how strong the pallet is. You just instantly get blinked. And you just get taken out of Hospital instantly, just like that. And that's why we don't see hits being used early on in your kites. You want to try to use your good resources early on, so that worst case scenario, you get blinked, you got warp. Well, it's okay. You got the maximum kite out value, you got the maximum resources out, and while you're at it, now that you've already used the good resources, you can run past your teammates and be like, oh, it's a fine, because I'm not leaving anything good on the table anymore. I've already used it all here. I've stalled the hit out as long as I can. And now I'm going to try to reset, go back to a strong area, maybe run past some supporters like we saw right there. So, really just a fundamental game about kiting basics right there. I think like Antiquarian did a fine job there, but she didn't really manage to go anywhere. She kind of got stuck at that window. So her broken windows boost didn't really help her escape anywhere, unlike the lucky guy. The lucky guy used the pallet boost, although he dropped the pallet on himself, which does slow him down. It does mean that it's easier to dodge the queen bee shots with that movement speed buff, which is, I think, what he was mainly thinking about. Anyway, we are going to see PP Shao here get swapped out. I didn't quite catch which hunter swapped in for him, but we'll see in a moment. But yeah, round one was, I think, more of like a fundamental for hunters. Like, what do you do when you're so far behind, right? How do you find a way to 3 kills still? And I think that right there is a good showcase. Trying to stall out resources, it almost worked out there. And against a lot of survivors, it probably would work out, because they probably wouldn't realize what's happening. Maybe they would rush the Cypher thinking it's okay. The survivors played that extremely well. But I think that hunter showcased us, what do you do when you're this far behind? Like, is there still a chance of winning, or are you just screwed? But no, you're definitely not screwed. I think he did a really good job almost winning that matchup. Very impressive stuff. Meanwhile, round two, we saw much more of like just raw kite potential as the lucky guy, being able to use good kiting routes, using pallets in the correct order, so that when you have to use, when you finally take that hit, you were expecting the hit. You're ready to take that hit. You're okay taking the hit, because it's not like you're wasting your boost trying to stay in a good kiting area. You've already used everything, so you don't have any regrets using your boost to go to a kiting area across the map. You've already used the good resources. You're now moving to the next one. And of course, that Antiquarian support, I cannot express how huge that was. I was expecting a stick. I was almost shocked to see there was no stick, but right there, she was actually holding on to it to guarantee that the warp doesn't do anything. So, great work there from the Antiquarian. Essentially negated an entire warp. 1/6 of your stick for a 100-second cooldown warp. I cannot express how good of a value that is. That's insane. That's insanely good value. You only had to use 1/6 of your item to essentially stunt the hunter's tray for the next, almost the entire game, because that game was so fast. He got to use how many traits that game? 2 traits that game. 1 for warp, 1 for excitement, and the warp got completely wasted. So it essentially only had 1 trait that whole game because of how fast that game went. So countering half of a hunter's trait, which is some of the strongest abilities in this game, traits, you are stunting the hunter significantly. We saw that in full effect right there. We are going to see Pepe? Pepe's the hunter? Did they sub him out or not? Who is the last hunter? PP Shao? Pepe, man, too many P's to remember. Anyway, we're gonna see Explorer here. Interesting. We have been seeing an increase in Explorer lately, ever since they buffed his movement speed while being in the while standing still, I should say. It has made it easier to get to hiding spots. It has made it just in general faster to reach Cypher machines, because you're just naturally faster every time you finish a Cypher machine. You reach the pages quicker. After you open up a page, you can run to your next Cypher machine quicker. Like, there's a lot of times where that movement speed really helps out. And not to mention, I haven't even mentioned the fact yet that even if you don't get a page, Explorer actually gets more % per perfect calibration. So normally you only get 2% of perfect calibration, like a flat 2% extra. So make sure you're hitting those perfects, guys. But as Explorer, it's extra important because you get 3.2% per calibration. This is only for the first 4 calibrations for every survivor, by the way. After that, they all go down by 1%, even Explorer, so then he becomes 2.4%, but then every other survivor is 1%. And it counts for each individual Cypher machine. So like if you do a new Cypher machine, first 4 perfect calibrations are the maximum 2%, Explorer is 3.2. Sorry, did I say 2.4? I meant 2.2 for Explorer. So he is a really strong decoder. Even without the page, he just reaches ciphers faster because of the movement speed. You'd be surprised how often that triggers. And of course, when he does pull up the page, pulling up 50% of a page for 20 seconds, that's insanely good. Because of the fact that you got to consider normally doing 50% of a cipher takes 40 seconds as a normal survivor. Explorer, he only takes 20 seconds with the third page. But even the first page only takes 27 seconds. That's still 13 seconds faster as long as it spawns in front of a cipher machine, which it almost always does. So it's not like you're walking across the map to to get your page and then again walking across the map to your next cipher machine. No, they try to spawn in front of cipher machines. So that's cool. I think also Leo's memory is a great hiding spot for Explorer. Lots of garbage to hide around, and there's also lots of snow piles that you can become invisible around. So pretty cool pick, pretty nice pick. I think being small also avoids getting sucked in by the suck ball, since we're seeing a QS here, but I'm not 100% certain. Gravekeeper, though, going to be such a strong rescuer here. Enchantress, I wasn't expecting to see Enchantress here, honestly, because Enchantress, again, does become a lot weaker in rounds 2 and 3. Once you ban Goman and once you see Queen Bee, there isn't really as much value going Enchantress, but we still are going to see the Enchantress. She could still support her teammates. Any heals she applies as well are going to allow her to stack up like stacks of guard very quickly as well. And Qist is a hunter that you definitely want to heal against. So we're going to be seeing a lot of heals here. Enchantress, I'm sure, is going to be trying to take advantage of that. Every time she gets healed or someone gets healed, she just becomes such a menace in the mid game. Almost unchaseable because of her getting stacks from all her other teammates. And even if you get the stack out and then go back to trying to chase other teammates, she's getting it back. Any damage you get, she gets her stacks back, which is what makes Enchantress so powerful against Qs in the mid game. Because, of course, Qs is depending on going after a survivor, getting items out, getting health out. But Enchantress, she's always getting those items back. If you hit her, she gets items. Like, no matter what you do, she's always getting stuff back. And as Qs, it's really hard to get health out. And then another survivor gets stronger from it. Like counters your whole strategy. Your whole strategy is slowly get health out, slowly get items out. But when one survivor is getting stronger from that, then it's going to make it so much harder for you in the end game when the gates are active, in the mid game when you're trying to slowly attrition down the survivors. It's going to make it all a lot harder. I wouldn't be surprised here if the QS is going to play slow here and then eventually try to find the Enchantress, because she's going to be a powerhouse in the mid game and the end game. So if she can get found early on while she's still weak, while she's still like growing, you can stunt her growth and get her out the game before it's too late, before you start injuring other people, and then Enchantress benefits off of that. On top of that, she only starts with 1 stun, so the sooner you can kind of get on top of the Enchantress before you start giving her endless amounts of stacks from hitting other people, assuming she heals them or they heal her, the sooner you will avoid the headache later on. So let's see what Pepe right here does. He is going to go after the Explorer, it looks like. Usually we don't see Qs immediately use the line. This is very interesting. And it almost feels like he gets immediately punished for it because he doesn't really have a lot of balls here. Oh, no, he is going to find the Explorer. Unfortunately for the Explorer, he dropped down and immediately got found by the Qist. I mean, he can see how far the Qist is. I'm surprised he dropped down when he can clearly see that the Qist is not on the balcony here. And not on the staircase. Trying to get the no recovery hit right here. Didn't manage to get it. Explorer right here. Going to be forced to get chased here. Not much to do here. Probably could have hid there a little bit better. But nonetheless, he is stuck in this situation. He has to make the best of it. He's going to eventually go down here to Insolence though. Insolence is going to trigger right about now. And now he has the suck ball. But Explorer barely managing to make the vault before he could suck him up with the suck ball. That's going to buy a lot of extra time now. He's going to get another use of the window vault. Q is going to just go in the ball normally here. Explorer just at this point gonna avoid the window because he went in the ball, get the extra distance, and just force the blink out. All in all, not great. You obviously don't want your decoder to be chased, but not the worst either. I do feel like he could have been more patient there, not dropping down the staircase, especially because it shows you how far away the hunter is. Like, he knew the hunter wasn't up there. So I'm not sure why he dropped down so early. In either case, though, we're going to see the meteorologist have to use an ability to make this rescue, and this is what we're talking about. Now that the meteorologist is injured, we might see Enchantress try to heal her, and this is going to make their end game and their mid game much stronger when Enchantress is able to just essentially get stacks for free. Definitely has made Enchantress a much stronger survivor because of the fact that you get stacks now, even after a knockdown, up to 3 times. Previously, that wasn't a thing. Now it is a thing, and it's able to make Enchantress much more powerful. Even after the first knockdown, she's still gaining stacks. Okay, looks like the stream's going to finally catch up here, unfortunately. I mean, not much happened. He just got suckballed right there. It's pretty typical right there. QS just easily knocks down someone because of the suckball. Wow. Stream is lagging quite a bit today. And we're finally going to see the Explorer get chaired right here. Gravekeeper didn't take any damage though, so he can still go for another rescue. Is the QS going to hit the shovel? He should. I would say he should, because that's a whole item out. And this, if you've been keeping track of what I've been saying, the whole strategy of QS is to try to get abilities out in the early game and in the mid game to try to make your late game easier. I mean, that's what Queen Bee is about as well, but especially QS with your movement and your ability to get guaranteed hits in with the suck ball. It means that survivors are much more scared. They're much more likely to use their abilities early on. We're going to see the Explorer right here drop the pallet immediately and then vault. QS easily predicting that, and prediction was on point. Manages to hit the Explorer basically immediately. Doesn't get any value from this pallet boost, and also doesn't get value from his tide turner. So that's a whole tide turner gone to waste here. There's no more tide turners on this team comp. It's already been used for the meteorologist, and first officer also already used, or not first officer, Gravekeeper also already using his tide turner right here. So not a whole lot to help their end game, and without a cipher to be decoded, this is gonna be quite scary for the survivors. No blink up yet. Wow, imagine how good a blink would have been here, but he uses the shovel anyway. And this is definitely an opportunity that this QS is gonna take. You use the shovel, you wasted time, I'm taking it. And now at this point, I think he might just decide to leave his target. No, he's still chasing, still deciding to chase. It's not gonna be a quick down though, because he dodges the suck ball. That's going to make it take a lot more time. On top of that, he's dying away from the Cypher machines. I feel like the Hunter might, yep, and with that swing, might be taking a little bit too long for this chase to make it worthwhile. In the meantime, we already have a Cypher machine up to 70%. I mean, he's just going to cut his losses. The loss cost fallacy. He's in it this deep. May as well just commit to it and finish it off. But this is what I was talking about. You commit too hard to a chase, and this is kind of what happens. The survivors just easily get the last Cypher machine. Something we saw PP Shao take great advantage of last game, but not so much this game from their replacement Pepe right here. It's just going to result in a Cypher being done very quickly. The good news for him is that this Enchantress doesn't have borrowed time, so she can totally become a chase target. But look at how fast she's getting stacks from standing next to the Hunter. Right here, what a great rescue here from Enchantress. You cannot suck the survivor up before the rescue happens. So as long as you react fast enough, and she did, then boom, you avoid the suck ball entirely. So what a great move right here from Enchantress, identifying that you can make the rescue before the suck ball even happens. Because it takes 1 second to appear, and you can make a rescue in half a second. She knows that, she's just going to make the rescue. And now, gonna leave his target, realizing the Cypher's at this point almost done. It's hard to say what the right move here in this position is. Gravekeeper is, of course, in the corner, so if you try to chase him, the exit gate at Christmas Tree easily gets done. But if you leave him, then now the other Cypher machine easily gets done. Uses the blink here, gets a guaranteed down. That is the benefit of saving the blink for endgame, is that you do have a guaranteed down later on this game, means that there's not going to be any dungeon shenanigans. But it also means that survivors know they're very safe to just do the other exit gate as long as they position themselves. And look at this. Even if he did have time to reach the other exit gate, Enchantress has 4 stacks. Gravekeeper can split up. That chase would be quite long to deal with in either way, as long as the Gravekeeper doesn't get found. Because, of course, Gravekeeper having no items would be pretty scary to get chased. But Enchantress having 4 stacks right there, there's basically no way she's going down right there. So this is what we were talking about. If you don't chase the Enchantress first, she essentially becomes an unchaseable target later on in the match. You need to spend way too much time getting those stacks out, getting an ability that regenerates when you hit other survivors. So you could be getting a 3-stack out just for it to come back later And QS, it really hurts QS because, of course, he depends on survivors who have abilities that don't come back, have health that cannot easily come back unless you self-heal with teammates. Just makes the hunter's job very difficult right there. So great work right there from the survivor's side. Of course, again, if the explorer maybe wasn't so impatient on dropping down in the direction of the hunter, even if he doesn't go upstairs, because you have to remember, upstairs isn't like an amazing cutting area against QS. At least like go away from the hunter, maybe towards like God corner where no one was decoding there. And it's also a great kiting area against QS. Like that, even that would have been better than just going in the same direction as the hunter right there. So could have definitely been a lot better on the first kite, could have stalled out a much longer right there. Nonetheless though, gonna be a decent enough kite to get a tie in. Some of you guys might be wondering, oh, but the Explorer can't hide because QS can see survivors within 16 meters of him when he comes out of the ball. When you have inertia, QS can see survivors within 60 meters of him. So, of course, that's why he didn't hide. You might be thinking that. But Explorer has an ability that allows him from getting seen by hunter abilities, including inertia. So he really could have committed a little bit more to the hiding there, I would say. Especially because he's Explorer. It's going to be really hard to kite out a long time if you get found. So may as well, I would say, commit to it, especially when you had that much distance, especially when Pepe right there lost a lot of time going to the back of factory, only to lose his tinnitus. And that was definitely an opportunity that the tinnitus could have been used against the hunter. The lack of tinnitus, Explorer could have found a new hiding spot, tried to find a place to hide, and could have thrown out that QS really bad. Unfortunately, got seen relatively quickly by that QS. So not going to see a whole lot of value from Explorer there, but though I do think Explorer was still a pretty good pick there. If only they got a little bit more value out of it, could have been much better. Oh no, the music is good. I thought the music needed to be reset right here, but no, we're good. Sorry, I've been talking so much, I really needed a drink of water. Okay. So what were we talking about? So, we are going to be finally seeing the opposing survivor side. Man, a lot of people on the Cryptic Notes hype, by the way. If you haven't tried out Cryptic Notes, try it out. It's a lot of fun, especially the fact that you can kill a lot of enemies. There really is like a lot of strategy to Cryptic Notes, but I digress. Going back to the gameplay, we're going to be seeing the opposing hunter side go for hopefully the win. We've been seeing a lot of ties so far, but as soon as anyone can get a win, this will catapult their team dramatically forward and give them the much needed round win that they are looking for. This tournament ends the moment someone gets 2 rounds of victory. So it's not really up to points. Even if someone gets like a 4-man kill right here, this tournament is not really up to 4-man kills. It's mostly up to, it's mostly not up to points. It's mostly up to round wins, right? So if you can win round 2 and round 3, then it doesn't matter how many points your enemy scored round 1, as long as you win more rounds than them, right? It doesn't matter if you got 4 killed and then your hunter gets 4 escaped and you guys are like down 10 points. If you can win round 2 and 3, all of that doesn't matter. Even if you just win by 1 extra escape or like 1 extra kill by your hunter, doesn't matter. We are going by rounds 1. But I will say, if you do get something like a 4 kill in round 2, then it makes it super safe to go for something like a tie strategy in round 3. Because then it will be based off of points. If there has not been a deciding victor 2 out of the 3 rounds, meaning that there wasn't a team that like won a round 2 out of 3 games, then at that point it does become based off of points. So that's what it really comes down to. Even just 1 kill here could mean that the team can just play super safe, go for like a tie hunter, go for like a tie team survivor comp, and just make it a lot more likely to just finish off this match rather than going for like wins, because you just need to really be Either you tie all the time and just try to win one of your matchups, or you do go for the double 2-round win, which is harder to do. You don't see that as often as just like playing it safe and then one side gets like a win at some point. We don't really see like dramatic sweeps like we used to do back in the day. No crazy like Hunter comebacks. Survivors have become more adjusted to playing slow, playing more safe, making sure they don't take on any unnecessary hits, use their items efficiently. Times have definitely changed. Hunters have become stronger, and as a result, survivors are forced to respect it more. So we see a lot more like slower pace games for the survivors, making sure that they get a safe tie rather than going for aggressive wins and ending up losing because the hunters have become so strong since then. All right, we're going to go into the ban picks of round 2, second half. We're going to see TE survive here, and GG is going to be the Hunter. Going to immediately ban Seer and Doctor, 2 very popular picks that we can definitely see in round 2, and could definitely be detrimental to single hit hunters like Opera Singer or Goatman. Goatman is going to be banned though, so no Goatman at this point, but any hunter that relies on long recoveries and just hitting survivors with no form of doing no recovery damage, like Opera Singer, could definitely make it a lot harder to kill something like Doctor, or in the case of Seer, if someone gets an owl on them, could definitely extend the kite quite a bit, enough for a tie. Instead, we're going to see Puppeteer, Archer, 2 very strong survivors as well. Totally fair to use them right here. Wildling right here is going to be used as well. Does die pretty hard to the Hula Baloo. So if the hunter goes Hula Baloo, Wildling would be pretty bad here. Gonna make it very easy for the hunter to double hit here if he chooses to go Hula Baloo. Honestly, wouldn't be that bad either here. Ooh, but they go mechanics, so the Hula Baloo becomes a lot less enticing. Any body block through the doorway at factory, and if you don't have your clone up, you're gonna have to hit the bot twice. That's gonna take time. Then you gotta spin your color wheel to get the bot down with the last color that you need, and that wastes resources, that wastes time a lot longer than a typical hunter normally takes with no recovery. Like, you think no recovery would easily get through a bot, but not really, because he has to just go one by one putting colors on, or he could choose to use his double surprise, but then obviously you want to save that for the mechanic herself. You don't really want to waste your strong ability just for a bot to get it out of the way a little faster, because what's the point of getting it out faster if you have no ability now to take advantage of killing the mechanic with? So it's like a lost situation for the Hula Baloo here if he goes Hula Baloo. But again, it is really good against Wildling here. It is pretty good against Puppet, because Puppet is kind of just always forced to use the Puppet early, especially if you leave red as the last color, because then he doesn't know if you're going to put red on him. I mean, you're always going to put red on him is the thing. So he's always forced to use the Puppet early before you have to swing, because if he doesn't, well, then you can't use your Puppet, then you're taking a full-on regular hit rather than like a chip hit from using your Puppet. So Hula Baloo could be good here against 2 out of the 4 survivors. Pretty not good against Mechanic or Archer. Instead, we're going to see Qist here. Interesting. Wildling does have an infinite ability, Eternal, that can never be gotten rid of. He will always have it up. So it's going to be a little bit hard to deal with the Wildling here. Mechanic as well, not the easiest thing in the world to deal with either. But at the very least, if you knock down the bot, it will give you a fast way of giving presents. That is the one benefit here. But it is a lot of like hits you have to go through. As long as you can get like a quick suck ball up though, if she gives those hits quickly with the bot, you could be looking at a very quick suck ball here. So definitely not bad against Mechanic. Puppeteer though, it's not bad against Puppeteer either. If you can catch him with your speed and force a puppet just from using your speed, then the next puppet you can get out by using your suck ball. And you can get damage on the Puppeteer in a relatively quick amount of time. Get those 2 abilities out once you've expended your resources as the Qist. Just get away from the puppet and try to chase someone else. Right here, we're going to see a very interesting Cypher layout from the Survivor team. Survivor layout from the Survivor team, I mean. right here, realizing that Qus is probably always just going to pass by middle, and just if they do middle, it's just going to very quickly get siphoned down using the abilities that he has. So going to choose not to spawn in middle at all, because they realize, hey, there's no point. It's just always going to be connected by Qus. It's also a really good place for him to start a chase. Like, why even bother spawning anyone there? Especially when middle doesn't even always spawn a Cypher to begin with. So you're just taking extra time to walk, really. Trying to get to the edges of the map here is going to be nice against Qus, because that means that no matter who he chases, there's not going to be like Cyphers nearby to regress while he's doing the chase or after the chase. It's going to become a lot more difficult to try to regress Cyphers in the middle of a chase. You're not going to be running into other Cypher machines when you're kiting. Again, like a little bit weird of a spawn, but you got to look at the situation and be like, you know what? This makes sense given that the hunter is Qus. We know the hunter is Qus. So right here, going to choose a spawn that makes sense against Qus. That makes it so that you're not giving the Qus extra value. All right. Going to be going into the next round here. The next half of round 2, I should say. Going to be still choosing his target right here. Qus tend to be more patient, I've noticed. They're not scared of the survivors getting a little bit of decode, because whatever they get, they're like, he's just going to regress anyway. Right here, getting really good value from this window right here from the archer. Getting so many loops out of it. Already getting 2 loops out of it. And no abilities out. And that broken window is just going to come back later. So broken windows is an extremely powerful trait against Qus. But look at this. Right here, Puppeteer really has like nothing amazing to kite with. He's just going to have to be forced to use his puppet very early on. And it's also really hard to like react to a swing against Qus because of how many ways he has to like bait an animation that looks like a swing. And I think once again, we're just going to see the same thing happen. We're going to have to see another puppet be used right here. And he's also cutting on top of Cypher machines here, so that's going to lead to Cypher regression here. He already is regressing Shaq, so Shaq is going to get regressed here. Ooh, gonna try to blink down the Puppeteer, but he actually predicted the blink. Perfect timing. Hunter wastes their blink for literally no reason. And right here, Puppeteer read him like a book. And now he's going to get basically no value. What a great play right here as well. Baiting the pallet, making it seem like he's going to walk into it, getting basically nothing done. But look at this. Wildling is going to force a suck ball, going to force the Qus to use the suck ball on basically just protecting himself, and didn't really manage to use it on a Cypher to like prevent it from being decoded for a little bit. Just is forced to use it on basically nothing. On a rescue that's anyway going to happen. He doesn't really get anything out of it except just protects himself. We're going to now see the Wildling just wait for the Church Timing to go up a little bit. Q is going to hit the hog here, try to get a little bit of presence. Is he going to go for the double down? Without a blink, it's kind of hard to go for a double down. That was the one pretty big downside, I should say, of using that blink. Now it means that he doesn't have it to double hit the Wildling very easily. Puppeteer going to use his puppet here, preemptively assuming the suck ball is going to happen. And right here, unfortunately, barely doesn't get behind the pallet, so no extra kiting time from the Puppeteer. It's just going to be based off of tide. Now he's going to get chaired here. Taking a look at the Cypher machines, analyzing where we are in this game, Qus can definitely slow down this game. As long as he can kill this Puppeteer in a reasonable amount of time, he can definitely slow down this game, try to slow it down, try to siphon, de-cypher rush these Cypher machines, make it so they don't have good decode going on, and slowly regress their resources, slowly regress the Cyphers is his game plan. He just needs to kill this Puppeteer and he can start working on the game plan. Right here, we are going to see the Archer get a really nice shot off here, protecting the Puppeteer. Turns out it's not going to be so easy to kill this Puppeteer after all, especially with all these, like, all the help that he's getting right here from the Archer helping him out. And also, even the Puppet here is still usable, getting so much value off of playing Puppeteer here. He basically has an infinite ability in a different way. Right here, barely gets hit because of the speed buff that Qus gets. And as a result, going to get hit right here. Archer going to choose not to spend any more resources, not to risk any health here. Just going to leave as soon as she can and just get the one value she can, not risk anything extra, and just play it super slow, super safe, not aggressive. We see survivors do this a lot. Unfortunately, though, we are going to see the Wildling get slowed down here on the Cypher, but that's the benefit of playing Wildling, is that you can be so risky about it. Oh, but the bot here is going to cause the archer to go down here. What a huge find from the Qis, completely preventing the heal. And on top of that, a lot of the bot's decode now just went to waste on a heal that wasn't even meant to be. Wildling is pressuring the Cypher, but what good is it when he got chaired on it? All the Cypher progress that he got is going to slowly go to waste. And keep in mind, this is pre-nerf Qis. This is Qis before the nerf that we see in the global server. So he's still regressing these Cypher machines by 12% each time. He's going to need to get on this pig. He wouldn't even get on it in time if the hunter chooses to go after him. Going to choose not to go after him, though. Going to choose to double hit the archer instead. I think this Qist realizes that there's no point going for the double down hit on the rescuer because he just can slowly kill down this archer. No matter how much decode this fourth person gets, it's not going to be enough to save this archer's life. Even with borrowed time, the last cypher is not going to pop in time. And he knows this. Why? Because A, there's 2 ciphers remaining, and B, he got the wildling off his cipher. So knowing this, he's like, well, they have no 5th cipher. That means I have time to kill one more person here. Oh, but the bot is going to sneak a rescue in here, and he's going to help out on the body block. You know the only problem? The only problem is the bot doesn't absorb suck ball. So it's going to go right through the bot here, but he kind of misses it. Means that the bot can get value here, but wow! The hits around the corners preventing the bot from body blocking here, even though it looked pretty convincing that the bot was going to take the hit here. Not going to even take the hit, and just like that, kills the archer. I think this was a great game sense moment right here from the Qis. Now, I don't even think, I know it was a great game sense movement right here, and he knew it too. Knows that the survivors don't have enough decode, so he can just safely camp and safely tunnel without the last ever being popped in time because of how ahead he is. No need to even get resources out when you already have a chair going on and there's nothing the survivors can do about it. We're going to see this wildling get chased here, but the pig only lasts 25 seconds. I don't even think... Ooh, I think that pig honestly might have ran out if he just waited like a millisecond longer there. It was almost running out right there. Gonna play it slow here. Gonna play it safe. Don't take unnecessary risk with Palestins. Unfortunately, also means that he doesn't have a good opportunity to use the suck ball either. He kind of has to get past these windows and pallets first. Force him to go through a narrow choke point just like this one, and then he can use the suck ball. Because if you use it out in the open, it's a little bit risky. Alright, we're going to see the robot here give tinnitus. Maybe they can get dungeon here. This robot is going to waste time here. Any second that they can get with this wildling bleeding out is going to be a second closer to, you know, just dying quicker so that his teammate can actually get the dungeon escape. But unfortunately for him, his teammate's bot does get found right here, and it does notify the survivor, or sorry, the hunter of where she is. Gonna check on where dungeon is here, I'm assuming. He sees where dungeon is. Oh, I see. But look at this. He doesn't know where the mechanic is because she swapped away her bot. Whenever the survivor drops their robot, their controller, the hunter is not alarmed to where they are. Only if they're holding the controller will the survivor be alarmed. The survivor's location be alarmed to the hunter. So as a result, we're just going to have to see Qist here just take a random shot at the dark, hoping that he finds the mechanic. Unfortunately, he doesn't find her until now, and the wildling's already well past bleeding out. Does find the mechanic here. Good game sense from Yum right here, realizing that, oh my goodness, and hitting around the illusion causes a terror shock, and wildling is going to be immediately chased. No extra bleed out timer from an extra hit there, just going to immediately get chased. And some of you guys might be wondering, why is it so important that they bleed out? Because once you pass the 75% mark, your teammate will die immediately. Ooh, missed the sock ball, but no, he hits it. Because look at this, when this wildling goes down, he's going to immediately gain 25% bleed out. But because of the fact the mechanic went down so quickly there, he's not going to bleed out in time for the dungeon to open up. Mechanic picks herself up, yeah, she wasn't able to get any closer to the dungeon. I mean, I'm sure her plan was to get to the dungeon there with her hit. But look, now she's going to have to run all this distance to the dungeon, and wildling does bleed out. But because mechanic went down so early, it forces the wildling to pick himself up early, which means that there's just like an extra 15 seconds for the queues to work with before the dungeon opens up now. And yeah, just like that, we are going to see, wow, 2 hits in a row that game where they just go around the target. Huge right there that he's able to take advantage of that tech make it so the survivors aren't able to get those body blocks in. And just like that, well, not even just like that, but he did, with good skill and good gameplay, get that 4 kill that he was looking for, and gonna catapult his team into a 5-point lead now. That's a significant lead for his team, obviously, Psyche. Is it a 5-point lead? Yes, it is a 5-point lead, so the survivors got 0 points for that match because no one escaped, and the hunter gets a bonus point because they got a 4 kill. So 1 point for each survivor he killed, plus an extra point for the fact he got a 4 kill, which is very hard to do. Easier to do as hunter than survivor, I will say, but nonetheless still difficult to do nonetheless. Did I say nonetheless 2 times in that sentence? Anyway, gonna see the round win, and that's the number one thing, right? Winning the round. The 5-point lead is nice, but it's only gonna matter as long as they can tie out round 3. If TE gets more escapes here than GG, then they're gonna win the round, and we're gonna see a round 4, because at that point we're gonna see a tie, right? We're gonna see 2 tie, or maybe it will be based off of points. I'm actually not sure. If we see one team win a round and another team win a different round, and then the round 1 was a tie, or like let's say any round was a tie, and you just have each team win 1 round, is it based off of points at that point, or do they go off of like who wins the round? All right, who got more points, I should say. So GG, as a result, going to be up 5 points here. GG up 11-6. So as long as they can get a tie, they're fine here. It's going to be based off of points. Even if TE wins here, though, even if TE gets like 1 extra escape here, it's not going to be enough to catch up to their point lead. So if it's going to be based off of points after round 3, then even 1 escape here won't be enough. And that is exactly what GG was looking for. I'm pretty certain that if a team wins round 2 and then the opposing team wins round 3, and before that was a tie, then I'm pretty sure it is still just based off of points. The game tries to avoid overtime if possible. Like after round 3, if you can just see who has more points, if the game has been pretty even, if like you guys have been tying, and even if someone wins, if the opposing team just brings it right back within their own win for the round, then at that point it would be easier to be like, well, let's just look at the points at this point because they're pretty even. Let's see who got more escapes at that point, or more kills, I should say. It really depends on who's playing. If the hunter side is playing, you want more kills, obviously, for your team. By the way, really good stuff right there. Again, hitting around the corner using the tech of hitting sideways right there. It's very weird how the hitbox works in this game. The hitbox basically has a priority hitting survivors on the side if you start swinging from the side. If you swing from the side and then move your attack in the direction of the survivor, it always prioritizes the survivor in front of the like if you have a survivor behind and a survivor in front, the attack for some reason always prioritizes whoever's in front first. And I think that might have to do with the cone aspect of the hitbox. So if you were to imagine a cone, the cone is going to first reach the survivor in front. Like, let's say if there's a survivor here on my forehead and a survivor on my nose, this cone is always going to reach my forehead before the nose. So whoever is body blocking behind, they're never going to successfully body block because that cone, of course, like a cone, it's going to hit whoever's in front first before whoever's in the back. That's been my theory for years now, and I mean, so far, I think that's what it seems like. That's what it seems like to me, is that it's like a cone, and you're looking at, like, the cone is gonna hit the survivor in front first, because that's who it reaches. That's the first survivor it touches. So as a result, the person in front takes the hit. Alright, so that tech out of the way. We are going to see GG ban Moonlit here, so they don't want to play on Moonlit, and TE is going to pick Lakeside. So Lakeside is a more popular map that we've been seeing recently a lot of. We've been seeing them at Lakeside especially a lot when you are up against something like Queen Bee, and we see a lot of Queen Bees like start off chase at Shack, or at least they like to start out chase at Shack, because if you can force the survivor going from the backside of shack to the doorway with no paladin to the window, there's like a pretty long section of just walking in a straight line, and you can definitely hit the survivor there with your queen bee shots. But queen bee is already used, so we're not going to be seeing either of that from either team right here, because both teams use queen bee round 1. So I wonder what is the strategic purpose of picking Lakeside here. Could just be like a comfort pick. They just want to pick what's comfortable for their hunter. That could always be the case. Or maybe they have something extra playing up their sleeve. Maybe they want to use Patient, and Patient is going to be really good here. Patient is becoming a more and more popular survivor, especially in IVL. I think already a lot of people are already using him in IVL right here. So it's no surprise that he's getting picked a lot in maps like in modes like IVL. But I think people in NAU have still yet to catch on just how strong Patient has become over his buffs over the course of many years. Of course, it took multiple Hunter nerfs before that as well, and don't get me wrong, he still gets hard countered by Goatman, but as long as Goatman is banned, you're doing pretty good. Are going to see some PP Shao support right here from the fans. Did PP Shao get subbed back in? Because he got subbed out from round 2, and now is he back in for round 3? It'd be pretty funny if he didn't get subbed in for round 3, and we're just seeing that. Like, please bring back PP Shao! That's almost what it would feel like then. Anyway, let's take a look at what's going on in the stream chat. I haven't looked at it all stream so far. Let's see who we got. We got Oka. We got Standard. Welcome, guys, to the stream. Jinray, thank you for coming. Excited for tournament commentary. There you go. That's the enthusiasm I'm looking for. I was watching Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Oka coming away from a movie to watch the stream. Real fan right here. Bree says, oh my gosh, it is 11 p.m. Bree is out of the loop. She has no idea that we've been doing this for 5 weeks now. Every week, 2 times a week, 1 a.m. Sometimes going up to... Well, usually we go up to 5 a.m., but sometimes we have gone up to 6 a.m. or even 7 a.m. 6-7, guys. 6-7. Alpha Creature. What's up, Alpha Creature? Welcome to the stream. Thief is the best survivor, as always. Will we be having duo commentary with Miki? Unfortunately, no. Miki couldn't make it. I am almost certain that he is actually just playing Stardew Valley. I don't know. I think Miki is kind of getting burnt out, in my opinion. I'm not gonna ask him for a reason why he doesn't want to, because at the end of the day, this is my YouTube channel, and I'm not paying him to be here. So I can't be mad at him if he doesn't want to come. But I do gotta admit, it does get tiring to do this 2 times a week, every week, for 4 hours in the middle of the morning. It's because you gotta think about it. Any like chance of fixing my sleep schedule, by the time it reaches Wednesday, I'm like adjusted my sleep schedule to be okay, right? I'm waking up at like at least like 12, right, and slowly getting it back on track, and then just Thursday and Friday comes along, just destroys it back all over again. It has been like that for 5 weeks now, and I like having a healthy sleep schedule, at least a consistent one, right? It doesn't have to be waking up at 7 a.m. But I like consistency in my day, so I can like plan out my day and be like, okay, I know I'm gonna have energy here, here, and here, and here, and then this is where my day slows down. I have no plan, basically. I'm just sleeping whenever I'm tired and waking up at different days depending on the time of week. It is exhausting, to say the least. So, I mean, I wish I could say that for Miki, that Miki is not here because he is fixing his sleep schedule and wants a consistent sleep schedule, but he is in VC as we speak playing Stardew Valley at 2:30 a.m. So I think he just doesn't want to do it. Alright, I think he just is getting burnt out. Anyway, we're going to be going into the next round. We're going to be seeing Mercenaries here, Prospector. Lucky Guy? I mean, I'm not a big fan of Prospector, but we have seen Prospector be pretty good. I was thinking that Prospector is better against Qist because Qist has infinite abilities, and his whole strategy is to like slowly get all the Survivor's abilities out. And so Prospector is great at that because he constantly is getting his abilities back. So the longer you leave Prospector in the game, the more ability value he's getting throughout. But Qist has already been used. So I wonder what the Prospector here is for. Why go Prospector over, I don't know, something else? Like, what else would they have available here? Why not something like I don't know, like Lanternus? Lanternus is still on the table. They banned Opera Singer too. Like, why not something like Lanternus instead of Prospector? I'm not sure. I really don't know why I feel like Lanternus would probably be better here. I mean, it's not like Antiquarian or Archer's on the table, though. I mean, I really don't know. Not really sure why. I feel like Lanternus would have been pretty good here against Peddler, too. I mean, Lanternus is just such a strong survivor in general. But in either case, we are going to see the Peddler here. That's the sound that Peddler makes. It was kind of a bad impression, though. It's more like... Okay, that's not a good impression either, but maybe one day I'll nail it. Anyway, we are going to see this kind of spawn from the survivors, which means that... Oh, no, they're going to swap. No, okay. I'm not a big fan of, like, doing the L spawn because it leads to the Seer not really being able to... I mean, I guess he's not rotating either way, though. Personally, I prefer if the Mercenary were to spawn where the Hunter's spawning. And that way, it kind of gives rotation value for the Seer now to go to Cornfield and maybe Small Bow, rather than now he's kind of stuck at Shack. Lucky Guy Cypher at Big Boat is also blocked. But I guess maybe they don't care that it's blocked, because maybe they want to leave it as one of their last Cyphers anyway. Cypher split is extremely important in this game. Making sure your Cyphers are not close together when you're down at one Cypher remaining. You don't want the last three to be next to each other. And Big Boat basically guarantees that that's not going to happen. Even if your last three Cyphers are like Docks, Big Boat, and Big Rock, I mean, Big Boat doesn't really count because it's on a different floor. It's really annoying to get to. From Big Rock to Big Boat, you gotta walk underneath Big Boat to the staircase, and by that time, the survivors have lots of time to react to you. Not to mention that you probably have your teammates watching for your back, telling you exactly which part of Big Boat. Like, oh, he's going up the ramp on the outside. Or he's going on the inside. He's going to take the staircase on the inside. So then the survivor's like, okay, well, if he's going to go inside, I'm going to take the ramp. If he's going to go on the ramp, I'm going to go inside, right? And it's just, it really doesn't count as like a Cypher lock position. So if leaving Big Boat as your last Cypher is definitely a power move from the survivor's side if they can do that. So the Cypher block here on Big Boat doesn't even matter that much, is basically what I'm trying to say. Right here, gonna choose to get the Earthquake here. And Yelm right here is going to try to chase whoever spawns at Small Bow. So Seer just has free reign on the Cypher to start at Shack immediately. Going to lead to pretty fast Cypher rush because of that. As a result, every survivor is just going to immediately get on a Cypher. It doesn't mean that the Prospector's immediately chased, but it also means that he's going to tell his teammates, hey, I'm immediately getting chased. Peeper right here is actually extremely good because now it completely throws off the Prospector. He's able to get seen. The mind game potential is out the window now. And he's caught out on the open. Oh, it does not get Vined here. But he's not going to quite make the window. He still needs extra support here. What a great hole in the wall here. Good stuff from the Peddler. Going to choose not to hit the owl there. Maybe he did mean to. I'm not really sure. Slow vaulting here prevents hearing the sound notification. He doesn't even get notified that he vaulted. Good move from the Prospector means that she waits to Vine, not expecting him to be on the other side already. Good Earthquake, identifying that he's going to hug the wall here to use the magnet, because he has to. That's how he uses the magnet. And now, he's just going to try to get as much time as possible, not going to try to go for anything greedy. Just throw these pallets down and force the Peddler to get her last Earthquake. And my goodness, is it taking a lot of time to get this last Earthquake. Ooh, what a flywheel as well. Flywheeled into the pallet, and it's going to force so many resources out from this Peddler. Finally knocking him down, but not before Lucky Guy finishes the first Cypher machine. The Rescuer, also not even that far behind on his Cypher machine. 80% on a Mercenary Cypher machine. Now it's reaching 85%. Looks like he's not even going to get off of it. He's just going to have Lucky Guy rescue. And Lucky Guy coming in with a gun, with Tide Turner. Great decision making right here from the survivors. Identifying that like, hey, Lucky Guy finishes Cypher. He's not doing anything. I'm busy, though, as the mercenary. I need him to... I need someone else to go rescue, so we're not wasting a million years walking back to the Cypher machine. Ooh, that hurts. Oh, but lucky guy. Oh, no, the prospector not paying attention to the vine. Just gonna run in a straight line here. And actually makes the vine good now, because the vine cannot take tight turns. So the fact that kind of like walked in a path that goes in a straight line for the vine made it a lot easier for the vine to get the hit off there. But I don't really think he's looking to rebound anyway. I think he's just looking to die away from the Cypher machine. So he's not really caring that much. He just cares about dying away from his teammates. And the other thing is he wants to also die in a position where the mercenary's not going to be far from the rocketeer. So even though he is getting harassed here, one good elbow pad. Nope, that's not far enough. Should have went for the pallet. He's going to take the earthquake for that. And now he can't really afford to take any hits. Also, the prospector doesn't have borrowed time, so it's not really worth going for the what's it called? The body block. Oh, but never mind. He changes his mind. What a great prospector magnet, by the way. I want to mention, counters the vine perfectly. Peddler tries to counter his route by putting the vine circle, the circular vine, at the pallet, but then he just completely counters the vine he got from that vine circle. Gonna take an earthquake hit. I honestly don't really like this position right here, because as soon as this prospector dies, he's gonna try to pick up this mercenary, knowing that the prospector has no borrowed time. He picks up the pallet. Okay. Oh my goodness. What a strong move right here from the peddler. Picks up the survivor with borrowed time. So now they have a problem on their hands. Now this prospector can't really help himself. And his teammates can't help him. That's just a free chair from the mercenary. And wow. The borrowed time biting them in the butt so hard. But you know what bit them in the butt even harder? The fact that mercenary body blocked there. I was like thinking, no way he's going to body block. This survivor has no borrowed time. There's no point of body blocking. But he goes for it anyway, and he is paying a heavy, heavy price for that greed. The greed not coming in clutch here. Now the seer without borrowed time is being pressured. My goodness, has this become an absolute domino effect for the hunter right here? Using a great flywheel here, countering the gems attack that gives longer range, but just gets hit through the pallet. And now it's the exact same scenario on the opposite side. No borrowed time now on the seer. This is a very awkward situation, all because the mercenary right here chose to body block, and because he got picked up, now they can't pop because prospector had no borrowed time. If they popped, then that would be even worse. Mercenary needs to do a really nice elbow pad here. Good elbow pad. I'm surprised the peddler... Oh no, it's lucky guy. Right here, gonna set up the vine ahead of time. Gonna try to bait the flare gun. He needs to play slow here. And... Oh! Gotta be careful here not to hit the chair. Lucky guy wants to get hit here because the seer has no borrowed time. Okay, and he's just gonna shoot and guarantee the rescue here. So now lucky guy gets away. Gonna force Under to make a choice now. Choose the lucky guy or choose the seer. And his choice is gonna be the seer. Ooh, but he kind of throws the pallet on himself. They're not winning the mind game successfully. And as a result, the hunter knocks him down before any cipher's done. Was it before half at least? It was before half, so the hunter has to make a choice here. Go after the exit gate, or I guess go after the other exit gate. I was going to say or camp, but he's going to choose to go on the left. Oh my goodness, what an awful teleport here. Of course, he didn't know, to be fair, so you can't be upset at the hunter for that. It was an unlucky guess, though. He took the guess that someone is doing the exit gate. Unlucky for him, the front gate is not coming to rescue. It was the back gate that is coming to rescue. And now the teleport went completely to waste. And now the seer is free. Once again, same exact position. Peddler must choose who to chase here. She can get a tie, but she has to make a choice soon. Oh, but the seer is in a pretty powerful position here. Depending on how close his next owl is, he might even be able to get a dungeon escape here. Not gonna hit the vine. Oh no, he is gonna hit the vine. What the hell? What was that vine hitbox? Kind of went through the staircase right there. All right, anyway. Gonna get chaired right here, and that is gonna be the seer's last chair. No more teleport either. And so that's gonna mean seer is gonna go down, but with no way to reach the exit gate. It's gonna mean the survivors get a pretty safe escape right here. And just like that, we are going to see I think GG, I think the Hunter right here, going to get a tie as Hunter. Unlucky teleport. Unlucky teleport. Did not end up finding anyone with that teleport. Was it expected that that's what was gonna happen? Maybe, because the survivors are probably communicating with each other that, hey, the Hunter went to front gate. So I mean, I don't want to say obviously, because hunters are like trying to predict the survivors' predictions, and maybe the survivors are trying to predict the hunters' predictions. So maybe the Hunter was like predicting that front gate would still come to a rescue, and that back gate is still doing the gate, and like trying to play reverse psychology, being like, maybe the Hunter was like, oh, maybe if I go front gate, they'll try to predict my prediction, and they'll think I won't teleport on the back gate now, right? And they maybe will be like, well, the Hunter might teleport to front gate. I don't know. I don't really know what the thinking was there with the teleport, because of course, if the survivor sees the Hunter went front gate direction, they're not going to do the gate either. So teleport is risky either way. Maybe his best bet was to just come back to the chair. But again, it's like playing reverse psychology. It's like, oh, are they going to think that I'm going to camp? Are they not going to think that I'm going to camp? I think a lot of hunters end up playing it safe in the long run. So I think that's maybe why he chose that decision, because a lot of hunters probably would camp that chair. They probably would try to get a safe tie. And so so the survivors maybe think that he's going to teleport away, and I guess they chose correctly, because maybe the idea there is like, oh, he's not going to camp. He's going to think that we think he's going to camp, but we're not going to think that he's going to camp. We're going to think that he's faking it and that he's going to teleport, and we're going to predict that prediction, and we're going to go for the rescue. And it ended up working out. For the survivors. So depending on the way you can think about it, you can either look at it as, okay, the survivor just outplayed the Hunter there, like predicted that the Hunter is going to predict them to stay on the gates, right? And they're like, no, we're not going to stay on the gates. We're going to get off the gates to avoid the teleport first. Or you could look at it as like the Hunter was just trying to predict that the survivor would think that he would camp, and then they would be like, oh, let's just go for the exit gates, right? And unfortunately, right there, did not end up working out for him that great. So we're now going to be seeing, again, I think this is TE right here. The background is showing, I always assume they swap the backgrounds to reflect who is playing for who team. Like, it'd be a little bit silly if this was GG's Hunter right here and the background behind him is like for TE. I'm pretty sure this is TE right here. I think this is Pepe, or is it PP Shah? Not sure, because I don't know who they swapped in for round 3 still. We saw GG Hunters go first, right? And right here, we're going to see GG on the survivor side. Oh, no, PP Shao is a GG Hunter. I got so confused because their names are so similar. Who got subbed out then? PP Shao got subbed out for a different Hunter on their team. I'm so sorry, guys. I got confused at some point. Similar names. They're probably not similar when you translate it from Chinese, but letters are very similar. So yeah. They're on separate teams, guys. They're not subbing in for each other. I feel so stupid, honestly. All right, anyway, gonna be waiting for the next matchup to start. So who got subbed out? Who got subbed out? PP Shao got subbed out for who? I don't remember. Or was he always playing? I could have sworn I saw a sub icon during round 2. Anyway, gonna be waiting here for the band selection phase to start. That was a little bit of stupid of me. Not gonna lie, these thumbnails are pretty good. Thank you so much, Standard. You can already imagine Mickey being on crack commenting at this hour. Not really. Honestly, not really. Did no one pick up that I said that PP Shao got swapped up by Pepe? Did no one pick up on it, that they're on opposite teams and so they can't swap for each other? Yeah, Arrow is popular still, but only in tournaments, really. Because he's kind of just like a worse version of all the other rescuers and kiters. when it's not Goman or Shadow. Explorer is the best survivor, exactly. Alright, we are going to be seeing the Hula Blue ban here with the Goman. Hula Blue still being respected here. Hula Blue still getting banned. And then we're going to see an Escapologist ban. Really interesting. Maybe he knows something we don't, guys. Escapologist is not like the best rescuer in the game by any means. But still, always interesting to see. I guess being able to move the chairs away from Cypher Machines is a very powerful ability, to be fair. It does mean that you're basically never able to chair on someone's Cypher Machine, which is... It is very good. In that regard, it is very good. It's just... It can just be a little bit difficult sometimes to Kai with his ability and to rescue, since he doesn't have the best abilities. Wildling, Doctor are going to be picked instead. That's why the Hula Blue was banned. Makes sense. Those are both survivors that can struggle against Hula Blue. Prospector again. Really? A lot of Prospector picks. Second Prospector pick we're saying. This time from the enemy team. We saw TE go that. Now their enemy, GG, is again going Prospector. Interesting. Prospector over Matador. So when Matador was banned, they decided to go Prospector. And then the last ban was Patient, which understandably so. Patient is very good on Lakeside. Does deck tell us anything about his Hunter, though? Or is it just because Patient is just, like, ridiculous to chase on maps like Lakeside? I think it's just because Patient's just ridiculous to chase, even if you're playing, like, a mobility Hunter that catches up to the hook. The hook has become so fast, and on top of that, you can hook into, like, small bow, and you can't follow the Patient. You have to go around, and it's just game-losing. Oh, they show the skins? Have they always shown the skins, or is this something new? I could have sworn they didn't show the skins before on your survivors. Is that new? Am I going crazy? I could have sworn that this was not here before. I could have sworn it would always be default. Did I really just not notice? I might just now be noticing because, like, this Magician Ripper skin is so cool. I always notice it. I don't really pay attention much to skins, but I'm noticing now. So then that makes me wonder, wait a second, it's not default. It's showing what skin they're actually going to go with. I didn't know if that's been always a thing. Thank you for commentating. We appreciate it. Thank you, Oka. I appreciate you being here regularly. Chuck Cake. Welcome, Chuck Cake. Thank you for coming in. Opera Singer. Interesting. Opera Singer. Going to be pretty solid against Prospector, I would say. It's a little bit scary going Prospector into Opera Singer just because she catches up so fast. Any stun you do or any pushback you do is significantly negated. Doctor can be good here, though. Doctor combined with Wildling can be very annoying. If you chase Prospector or if you chase Magician here, then what could end up happening is later on in the same game, you might have Doctor come in to force heal the survivor off the ground. And if the Hunter tries to pick up, like let's say the Doctor lets go and then the Hunter picks up, Wildling just rescues them. So what do? Do you deal with the Doctor, who is just going to run away and heal herself? Or do you deal with the Wildling? Because if you deal with the Doctor and then try to go after the Wildling, well, then Doctor's just going to heal herself and come back. If you go after the Wildling, then the Doctor's just going to instantly heal the person you're trying to pick up in the first place, that you're trying to make sure Wildling doesn't rescue. So it's like a lose-lose situation. On top of that, Wildling has an infinite ability, so it's not like you can just drain out his ability beforehand. I mean, she is playing Opera Singer, so it definitely is possible to kill the what's it called? The pig here, and then go after the knockdown person. But not a gimme by any means. Thank you, Moonly Jellyfish, as well, for the what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? I can't think right now for some reason. For the compliments, yeah, for the compliments. All right, we're gonna see Doctor with no borrowed time, Prospector with no borrowed time. Wow, even in round 3, triple no borrowed times. GG is ahead, right? So they just really want to tie. I hope these lack of borrowed times don't backfire here. It does mean that they're going to have a stronger early game, but if they have the wrong person be chased end game at the wrong time, they could be in a problematic situation right here. If someone without borrowed time has to rescue someone without borrowed time, because that means there's basically no way to body block for them, even if you wanted to. All right, so we're going to be going into probably the final round right here, the final half. Pepe right here going to go straight for Big Bo, going immediately after the survivor at Big Bo. That's going to be the Magician. Gonna fall down here so that he immediately can dash. And Magician's going to have nothing to do but be forced to use these pallets right here. Gonna put the illusion in a spot where it forces the upper singer to get out of her ability here and go around it, because otherwise she can't go past it while inside the Shadow Realm. So we're going to see that, but she just deals with it very quickly right here. Gonna go up the ramp now. Magician using his illusion just for speed. Interesting. I feel like maybe it would have been a little bit better to save it a little bit longer. If he may as well use it a little bit later. I guess he wants to use it so that the cooldown on his third one is back, but doesn't really get much value, honestly. May as well just, what is it? Just a few seconds extra? That kite honestly wasn't that great to begin with, honestly, and he used all his abilities and relatively quickly too on top of that. Pepe could get a 4-man here. With a star like this, the survivors were really... Oh, and abnormal too! Pepe trusting in his chase that he can kill them without blink. They basically have nothing going on now, because Pepe will almost certainly be able to kill this survivor if he doesn't get assistance from his teammates. And at this point, it's looking like a 4-man kill if they don't actually manage to help out this Magician. They're without borrowed time here in the end game, and only wilding with borrowed time is going to be extremely hard, because as I've mentioned before, survivors rely on the first kite being at least tieable if they're going to go like no borrowed times end game. Because otherwise you're going to be in a lot of trouble when you're going to have a lot of half-health people and anyone can be chased. And as long as the opera singer won't go for wildling, they're just screwed. There's no way to save their life without borrowed time. And the basement too. Are we still going to see a rescue here? A rescue here can be very risky. Ooh, does he see them? No, he does not see the survivor. Oh no, but now she reveals herself. So I'm assuming she's going to go for the rescue at this point if she revealed herself. Honestly, not great here. The withering effect slowing down the doctor immensely. Pepe right here. Nice dash here going to the edge. And now gonna pretty safely hit the Magician here. I don't think there's any point going after the doctor right now. And so he's just going to have to go after the Magician now. Magician is going to try to die away from the doctor so doctor can at least escape. But because of that abnormal, we are just now getting finally a finish on our second and maybe the third cipher right here. It's going to be so difficult now as the survivors. They're going to need to pray that no one gets found for a good portion of the game. Right here, they even got off the cipher there for a second, expecting a teleport there maybe. But it's a wildling, so the wildling is not too scared of getting teleported on. And again, though, he's half health. And I believe he's getting healed now. And, I mean, she's not finding anyone. If Pepe continues to not find anyone, then they can definitely catapult themselves back into a tie position. Maybe even just a one escape here. Even one escape would be fine. But if they don't get found here, holy, Pepe needs to find someone. The fact that he cannot find someone, and it's not on top of any cipher machine, so he's not even like patrolling anything right now. Wow, Pepe's just gonna cut his losses here and is just gonna leave. And now, as a result, we're gonna see him try to find someone else. At the very least, he's gonna find the wildling, but he doesn't really want to chase the wildling. He sees a shadow, but now doesn't decide to chase him. Wow, so this is exactly what I was talking about. This is the one way they can get themselves back in the game, is if they don't get found for a long time. This is definitely... Ooh, that wasn't really a great shadow right here. Doesn't really go all the way back in Big Bo like he was hoping for. And now we're going to see the Prospector take the kite right here. Can he do a long enough kite for his teammates? He still does not borrow time, though. So it's going to lead to some trouble later on. So far, Pepe not missed a single dash this game. Very good controls. Oh, finally missed one. He's on a cooldown now. So using it in the middle of a pull right here is going to put it on cooldown because he didn't reach the Shadow Realm on time. Has the Magnet here. Magnet coming in super clutch. Ooh, this prospector's playing mind games. He doesn't know if it's safe to dash or not, because he doesn't want to get put on another cooldown. This prospector's kiting so well right here. Saves himself from going on cooldown. Flywheel saves his life. And teleport is going to be the thing he's going to use to try to slow down the game, but he gets hit through the pallet. Wow, unfortunate here. He could have just, man, imagine if he had pre-dropped one of these pallets and just gone on the pig. Probably would have been a little bit safer here than trying to go for a pallet drop. But now, as a result, we're going to see Pepe commit to the wildling. How much is he going to commit, though, is the question. Not much here, it seems. Going to go back to the Cypher Machine, patrol it, and unfortunately for Doctor, made the wrong move going for the Cypher Machine, thinking that she's going to chase the wildling. Played aggressive for basically no reason here, but Pepe chooses not to chase the Doctor, and this is the problem with Doctor. Ooh, there we go. Second dash, miss of the game. This is the problem with Doctor, is if you choose not to chase her, she doesn't just heal herself, she heals the whole team. There's not a whole lot, I mean, Pepe can do here. Oh my goodness, by the time he even goes back and realizes what's happening, it's too late. The heal is just so fast. Wildling has another pig. Wow, the fact that the Doctor didn't get seen there at all is incredibly fortunate for Team GG right here, that the Doctor did not get found at small ball right there. Huge turn of events right here, despite the incredibly good early game, and Pepe's dash misses are not making things any better here. T-King right here setting up magnets for later on, and his kite is at the maximum, or not at the maximum, but I guess he had it up there even earlier. And look at this, he's just constantly getting magnets back and forth, making it very difficult for the Hunter to drain resources out when he's always getting more. Every time he gets left, he just gets more and more magnets back, and it just means that his kite is going to be always a little bit longer than other survivors normally would be. Look at that, delaying the magnet there, tricking the Hunter into thinking that he's going to get stunned there, gets stunned a little bit later. Every second is going to count here. No borrow time though. Survivors are going to realize that they just need one escape out to win. They're just going to pop the Cypher, and they're going to force Pepe to make a choice, but this is not super safe here. I mean, look at this though. The stars are immediately on the gate. He has basically 20 seconds to choose teleport or camp. And if he teleports, but he immediately kills the Doctor. Oh, but he's gonna not choose to go back. Okay. Gonna chair the Doctor, because if he doesn't chair the Doctor, then it's gonna be very hard to prevent a one escape. He needs to make sure he gets every chair possible. He cannot afford to let anyone self-heal. That's the problem. That's the problem of getting 4 killed earlier. His team getting 4 killed earlier this match. That he cannot even allow even one survivor to escape. So where normally he would take this Doctor knockdown and let her escape after this, just slow down the game and just teleport back on the wildling trying to go for the rescue and then get a super secure 3-man. Not able to take that anymore because he needs to make sure no survivor escape. But how are you going to do that? Now he needs to let go of the front gate, but now the front gate is going to escape. Wildling taking his time right here with the pig, making sure not to run by any shadow realms. So that way, oh, and right here, not getting off of his pig, hits the pig instead and now gets pallet stunned for it. And yeah, no way. There's no way. If only he didn't need to get a 4 kill here. Maybe if only his team only got 3 killed, then he could tie things up with his own 3 kill. And then just let go of the Doctor. Opera Singer teleport back on the wildling. And then the game would have been tied up. Then they could go into a round 4. Things would have been tied up right there. But because of the fact that he needs a 4-man, he could not let the Doctor go. He had to pick her up. But if you pick her up, then you let go of teleporting back on the Opera Singer with your Opera Singer teleport on the wildling near the chair. But if you do that, then Doctor gets up and gets that one escape that you needed to prevent. So unfortunately for him, he had no choice. He had to pick up there. He had to pick up the Doctor, and that's it. That's it. It's going to allow wildling to safely rescue now. It's going to allow them to split apart. Now the Opera Singer has to choose, go after the wildling who's going to make the rescue, or go after the magician who's going to escape. It's a loss-loss scenario for the Opera Singer. I mean, props to the survivors there for making sure that they are never in the same place at the same time. The only time they were at the same place at the same time is when the wildling as after the teleport happened, the doctor immediately got teleported on and immediately died. Granted, there's not much you can do, but immediately died. That was the only time in the game where this 2 survivors are together. But he couldn't take it, because if he takes it, then now Doctor escapes, and now it's like, what's the point? He needs to make sure that Doctor will not self-heal, will not escape. The only way to do that is to chair her. Make sure that she needs help from her teammates. But then after that, Wildling split up from Magician. Magician's going for the gate. Wildling's going for the chair. No matter what you do, someone's always escaping. Either 2 people escape or 1 person escapes. Without a teleport, he's not going to be able to get another kill very easily. Very good gameplay right here from GG, realizing that 1 escape is their win condition. So what do? They split up their resources at all times. And even when they were together, they knew that the Hunter could not leave the Doctor, because then that would still lead to, again, a 1 escape position. So, great game right there from GG, and congratulations for moving up. GG, again, to remind you guys, is 2nd place in the bracket right now. And if we go ahead and check, that would put them still 2nd place, because 1st place right now is GR with 7 wins and 2 losses. And GG would have 7 wins and 3 losses. So still 2nd place, but cementing their victory, cementing their place on this leaderboard, making sure that they stay 2nd place in the IVL leaderboard. That way, they don't fall down. If you guys are wondering, the full leaderboard goes as follows. GR is 1st place with 7 wins and 2 losses. GG is 2nd place with 7 wins just now and 3 losses. Weibo Gaming is 3rd place with 6 wins and 3 losses. FPX.ZQ is 4th with 6 wins and 3 losses, so tied with Weibo, but I think it's a difference of escaped survivors at that point, or kills, one or the other, probably. Act is going to be 5 wins and 4 losses. TE is going to be 4 wins and 5 losses before this match, but now after this match, they are 4 wins and 6 losses. Still going to keep their 6th place, though, so they don't fall down. But that is going to be an extra loss on their name. Wolves right now is in 7th place with 3 wins and 6 losses. MRC in 8th place with 3 wins and 6 losses. GW in 9th place with 3 wins and 6 losses. Where are my 6-7? 6 wins, 7 losses. Well, I guess there have been enough matches for that. And Dow 5 is at the bare bones bottom with 2 wins and 7 losses. Alright, guys. I am going to call the stream here, unfortunately. I'm only going to be doing 1 matchup today, so if you guys want to join and watch the 2nd matchup, let me just quickly see what the 2nd matchup is going to be. So for those who want to watch, the 2nd matchup that we're going to be having on IVL is going to be MRC versus FPX.ZQ. As a reminder, MRC is 8th place, FPX.ZQ is 4th. GR is going to be the 3rd matchup, GR versus Act, and GR is 1st place right now. So right now, out of all the teams, they are getting the most wins right now. Definitely going to be an interesting watch. And if you guys are interested in that, make sure that you go ahead and click the link in the description below. I left a link to the full live stream so you can watch the 2nd and 3rd matchup. But unfortunately, I gotta go. I gotta wake up at like 11 o'clock tomorrow. So in the meantime, guys, thank you so much for watching today's stream. I'm sorry that I could not stream both matchups. We'll do both matchups tomorrow since I'm gonna be free. And hopefully we'll have Mickey in there as well. I'll go one more quick look at the chat and we'll call the stream here. The music woke me up because I thought there was a bug stuck somewhere in my room. Which music sounded like a bug? To be honest, you would think Pepe and PP Shower are on the same team too. Yeah, I don't have much knowledge about the players either. Like some of these names I've heard of before, but who knows if they've changed their names on top of them. You know, then I definitely don't know. Opera not finding the doctor. Yeah, that could have been a 4-man. If that went to a 4-man, we would be seeing around 4 right now. But unfortunately, not finding that doctor means that she was just so far behind. I was so lucky that she didn't get found right there. Alright guys, that's going to be it for today's stream. Again, if you want to catch matchup 2 and matchup number 3, be sure to look down in the description below. I left a link for you guys in there so you guys can watch right there if you want to. In the meantime, guys, we're going to call the stream here. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys next time, and take care. This has been Zach.